Hello, and welcome to Guys Dealings with Feelings, a podcast focused on men's health and emotional awareness. Jason, a licensed therapist with over 19 years of experience, and I, being profoundly affected by the death of my son, share grounded conversations and practical insights to help men navigate modern life with clarity and attention. What's going on, Jay?
What's up, man?
So we're going to start a new direction, and we're going to have some kind of current topics that I think are affecting how we are navigating life. They're kind of affecting our journey, if you will. And we'll discuss it with Jason and kind of get some things to bring us back down to earth, some tools we can use in our everyday life that, when things are, for example, today is going to be AI. So when, is AI coming from my job? Do I need to be freaked the fuck out? All I hear about all the time is AI. It's in the movies. We saw it in The Matrix. We saw it in Terminator. So when we were kids, we saw it. And now all of a sudden the shit's coming true, and companies are spending just gazillions and gazillions of amounts of money on these data centers. Everybody's pissed off about data centers. So there's another emotional point. There's all these predictions about what's going to happen. A lot behind job loss, all the way to total extinction of humans. And the shit's thrown out like chum by media in hopes of gaining eyeballs. And, I think that something I'd like to address is we've done it before. We are walking billfolds. That is how we are seen.
You say walking billfolds?
Walking billfolds. We are seen
consumers,
as consumers. That's all we are, is consumers. People will talk this, that, and the other like they give a shit about that. Nobody is giving a shit about nobody, but they own people. And that's life. That's how it works. And own people can be your immediate community, of course. It can even be your county or your state. And a lot of people are very patriotic and love their country. But if it came between their family and their well-being, they would do what they had to do. And we all know this. So when it comes to corporations who own America, and they do, it's no question that we're owned by corporations, from our politics to what we consume, entertainment, music, news, all of it is owned by corporations. And so they see us as consumers, and they're just trying to sell us shit. And so if they're trying to sell advertisements, they need us to watch their shit. They need to do what it is going to lock you in. And scaring the fuck out of you is an age-old way to get your eyes on them. And they are now, you think about, I mean, hell, we remember when CNN didn't exist. But you think about when it came on, and I can't remember, I saw the actual news item that caused the big breaking news. It was the first time they put breaking news across.
Like, it was just 24-hour news.
Yeah, 24-hour news cycle. And no shit, it is breaking news when Donald Trump walks out of the White House. Or, I mean, it's just the dumbest shit can happen, and it's breaking news. Donald Trump had dinner. Like, okay, that's not breaking news. So everything's breaking news. Everything's life-shattering. And AI is no exception to that. And there's a lot of fear behind it. And there's a lot of prediction. And thank God there's been some tamping down of some of this rhetoric. I know Scott Calloway, he's gotten a lot of traction and attention out there and seems to be a pretty reasonable human being. And don't worry about what he's saying politically, but what he says about AI is it's one of the biggest commercials, if you will. It's just a big old commercial, and everybody's in this fight to be the first one there. And once they get AI that can build AI, then it's off and running. And we want to get there before China does for national security and blah, blah, blah. So there's that. But he's like, it's all just, if they push the narrative that it's going to change the world, then they can drive their IPO up to these 100x, sales, and they're not worth. So they're just trying to drive value of company. That's all they're doing. They're trying to say how huge it's going to be, and it's going to come out. Could be life changing like the internet. But everybody knows the internet didn't take everybody's job, and they thought it would. They thought when TVs came out, radio was dead. And it's not. You can still turn the radio on today, and it's lasted a long time. Now, is newsprint out? Yes, but printing the news isn't out. You just don't print it on pieces of paper. You print it on the internet. The same guy that wrote the story can still write the story. It just is going to be read in a different location. So the idea that this has been going on for a long time is what I'm trying to say. And so AI could just be another thing that's going to enhance how we do our job. It's going to make us more thorough in how we do our jobs, and we can produce more. But it won't necessarily take our jobs. And then it could take some jobs, and we have to morph. So, there's, again, a printing press guy probably doesn't have a job. But if he knew how to work printing presses, he can probably work some other shit too. So he can go get another job. It's just not the same job. And there's some statistics, and these are not. I haven't gone deep in the fact checking of these, but I think generally we'll be close. Okay. 7 in 10 Americans believe AI will result in fewer jobs over the next 20 years. Adults under 30, roughly 3/4 believe AI will lead to fewer jobs. I know my kids, most of them in their 20s. The 3 of them in their 20s they're not big AI fans. They don't like it. I know when you see anybody at a graduation for college say the AI, everybody boos. Yeah, everybody boos.
Seen a couple of them.
Yeah, my 12-year-old comes home and don't use AI. It's taking all our water away. And if you're 60 and AI dramatically changes your profession over the next 15 years, that's one thing. If you're 22 and just spent 4 years and 100,000 preparing for your profession, it's a big difference. And we get that. And the fear of losing your income or not being able to provide is a problem. And when we spend 20 years doing something and a rug gets ripped out from under us, it's a problem. So these fears are realistic. And now we're going to lean on Jason a little bit as to why it is when these seeds are out there. So we know that this is happening. How is this? I think it weighs on us as anxiety, but why is it that it's able to creep in so easily? Is it because of it's real and it's just like, oh shit, this is really so much to be worried about? Is it really because we're consuming so much through social media and reading the news? What is it that's driving this and creating the anxiety for us? And why does it seem like it's almost addictive? Like I keep coming back for more of it, even though it's just driving me to a disrupted place.
Maybe because it's unknown. It might be I'm I don't really know what it's all about yet. I'm not. It's also strange to me, really.
You talking about the AI phenomena itself?
Well, but it's not. I don't like. I would, I guess, in a way, like you said, you mentioned. I don't know who Scott Calloway is, but you mentioned Scott Calloway, right? And focused on Anthropic's IPO or something. It might be have a valuation of like 2 trillion or something like that.
The goal is to be larger than SpaceX's.
But I just see that as one component of things, Like, what is AI? What is happening, And I don't know, as far as I can tell, right, there's been some breakthrough, some technological breakthrough that that's already eliminating jobs. Like already.
You mean the LLMs, the language models?
Yeah. Like it's already eliminating jobs. So I personally think it's like a tsunami in a way that will hit in ways pretty decently hard. Right? I think there are quite a bit of jobs that are going to be challenged. That will be challenged by.
That's definitely been embedded, and I think that is exactly what is happening to so many people. I've read some of the data points on it, and we had a lot of bloat coming out as far as employees go. There's a lot of bloat coming out of the COVID years, 23 specifically, 24. People had really loaded way up on employees. They had the money, they spent it on employees. A lot of that bloat's being cut back. Times being leaner. We got the inflation issues, tariff, blah, 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 blah. So,
Yeah.
And companies are spending a gazillion dollars in how can AI help us? And there's been a lot of news that they're paying more for the tokens to use the AI than they'd be paying the employee that they're training the AI to take. So is it really even a savings for them? Then there's so there hasn't been the actuals, while there has been some job losses and there has been some rollback as far as, so another stat that's in my notes here is something about how, so here's some of the stuff with the scary predictions. Credible people predicting significant disruption, with the IMF estimating roughly 60% of jobs in advanced economies are exposed to AI. Which doesn't mean 60% of jobs disappear, but exposure could mean AI replaces
that's why I
the
say
worker.
challenged.
Yeah, and so is
White
it that
collar.
AI replace it? Yeah, white collar being a big one, or does it make us better at what we do? And I think some of the more aggressive predictions, technology executives about large reduction in entry level white collar employment. Maybe they're right, but maybe they're wildly wrong. We're standing at the beginning of something and trying to predict what it looks like at the end. And I think think about trying to predict the impact of the internet in 1995. And so right now, we're not hearing about AI eliminating a bunch of employment. Unemployment's currently at 4.1, and there's a softer job market at hand. But there are some warning signs. Young workers in occupations highly exposed to AI appear to be having a harder time getting their foot in the door. 20 to 25-year-olds in highly AI exposed occupations significantly below their less exposed peers, but research looking across the entire economy still find no evidence of widespread AI-driven job displacement. So, it could be that it's coming, and we're just suffering up front, and that's something I think you and I address on a very frequent basis. And nobody has any idea what's going to happen. The people who are trying to sell you stocks are going to tell you that it's going to take over the world.
But most people do not actively participate in the stock market.
But they got to hear the fodder about.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, again, okay, how is it let's just take all the ways that it's being used right now, right? I mean, one way, I guess, like genetics, the biosciences is one way that machine learning is being used, right? If anybody's ever used it themselves for any kind of project, and I do, I've used Claude to help me put things together that are actually aimed at helping people.
They can definitely make you better at what you do.
That's their. It's like an assistant. But like, for instance, Drake, my partner, for a long time has started businesses, been involved in that kind of thing, and so one of the things that he would do is put together pitch decks, right? And I will consistently hear him say, "This is crazy." Like, Claude can do in a couple minutes what would take him months to do historically. Do you know what I mean? That's just for instance, right? So I don't. Yeah, but that's the thing. We don't know what this is. What are all these data centers for? What is all the data going to? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, what is it all really about? I don't think we really know, right? And have you heard the stories about I think I heard Amazon where people are buying books and scanning them in, uh, and then destroying the books. It's just a story I've heard. I didn't go super deep into fact checking it either. Have you heard that?
No, I hadn't heard about what you're talking about. I do know that Meta's having to rent out, and so is I think it's SpaceX is the arm of Elon's stuff that does AI. So they're having to. They've built data centers or are building them, and then they're going to lease. They're not even using them, so they're like leasing them out. And I I don't know what the fuck. I mean, they're going to house data, obviously, and it's all the data in the world, and then I guess plus what we put in.
Robot. Well, it's all our data. It's
It's
all
that we've collected. It's
human data,
yes, it's all the
right?
human
You
data
know,
that they can collect.
and I guess for the robots, man, I was or one primary thing that it's I guess that it might be aimed at is robots. That's still in its infancy, as far as I understand. Like at the manufacturing level, think cars and production lines and stuff like that, robot arms and things like that. I think that's at like 500 to 600,000 a year being produced, which is significant, right? But humanoid robots, I don't even think there's like super clear numbers, and that might be 10 or 20,000 a year. But the idea is that the production speed of that's going to ramp up exponentially, right?
Once they're doing it themselves.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so it's like this. Uh, but think about, I mean, the scale of what is being proposed, like the Terafab lab in Texas. Have you seen anything about that?
Oh, is that the data center?
That's the chip production. That's Elon's proposed Texas project. It's going to have all kind, yeah, data center, chip production. It is beyond the scale of these projects is it's mind blowing, right? So it's like, what is what's actually happening? And as far as I can tell, like I don't know. I don't know what the hell is actually going on, right?
And I want
It seems like what's actually going on is a part of the flow of the fucking world that is beyond our comprehension.
what our level for sure of
You know
our
what I
level
mean?
of what information they're giving us. So I want to take this opportunity to say, okay, I think that's a common. It needs to be a common feeling. Is I don't know what the fuck is going on, right? And when we have uncertainty, that's going to lead to anxiety. Over things like money. How am I going to make money? If I'm not going to have a job, there's no way I can make money. And then this is all I've ever done. So how am I? Okay. So now you can share what you do for yourself or what you recommend for the general public to do coming from their standpoint, because what you may do may be a little more quote unquote
See,
advanced just because you've been doing it longer. So what
uh,
would you suggest? Somebody's like,
yeah,
God damn it, what's going on? I'm lost.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know what's
yeah.
happening. I'm scared. What do we
Man,
do about that?
so it's sort of to me, it's really about a larger puzzle, right? And if you take like if you looked at the arc of our whole this whole timeline, right? And you had this line graph that maps sort of like technological, you know, advancement or whatever, right? Uh, if you looked at the last century, right, like that line would be going pretty straight up. You know what I mean? Right? And so there's this like evolution that's happening. You know, we don't know a whole lot, yeah, in reality about like evolution, like how it operates, right? Like we don't individually as we walk around
Mm-hmm.
that we've
Right.
heard the word and shit like that. We don't actually know much about it. You know what I mean? And so Uh, over the last little while, you might could go back to COVID. I don't know, but whatever. Last few years specifically, something seems to have like shifted or like ramped up. Right? It's very, it's like really tumultuous in the water. It's like the heat's been turned up. All of a sudden, start getting inundated with like this very confusing, horrific information called the Epstein files. Government's fucking releasing UFO files, drones. Do you know what I'm saying? Like AI now. What the
These
fuck?
flock cameras that are all of a sudden
Man,
everywhere.
there's a whole lot going on, right? And and now thank God, man, that my experience started to go in certain directions uh before all this started. And so I'm genuinely not afraid or anything like that. And so to me, it really is about our evolution, where we're evolving, what we're evolving into. It sort of will seem like a de-evolution. It's like things are falling apart, vision, anger, confusion. You know what I'm trying to say? And
Yeah, and what are healthy ways for us to handle that? Because with all that shit comes anxiety and fear, or fear
yeah,
and anxiety.
yeah, yeah.
So how
Well,
can we?
we're not super familiar with those two words generally, and they're not even different. It's the same thing. So when somebody says anxiety, I'll generally uh kind of help them see it's fear.
And fear is as an acronym.
False evidence appearing real.
I love that. Can't ever remember, but I love it.
It's the so the most general way to talk about what I would do
Mm-hmm.
is start becoming familiar with the word attention and with the idea that attention is like a muscle. That has to do with the nervous system. It has to do with what we call grounding and presence, and right. Uh, that is related to our individual evolution, and then as we start to connect with our own experience differently, ourself differently, right? Our own experience differently. We start to, how can you say, we start to be less dependent on that stuff for us to be okay. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it starts to maybe draw less of our attention. This might be a general way of talking about it. So practices that help you learn to uh, become familiar with the muscle of attention.
Focusing on self and
It's really, but it's focusing on the muscle of attention. That's just automatically focusing on our deeper self. That's taking us in the direction of like a deeper relationship with ourselves. Uh,
the basis of that being that wherever our attention is where our experience is going.
yeah,
And so if we spent some time on this on the last episode of I think the title is "You're Not Overthinking. You've lost your attention." And
yeah, you're not
Jason
familiar
really,
with the faculty of attention yet.
yeah, Jason really kind of educated us on the attention and what you're paying attention to is where your energy is going to go. Like that's how it's going to work out. And
Yeah,
in simpler terms, what you're focusing on and paying attention to is what you're going to experience. And that seems like a duh statement until you realize that you're spending your entire life not paying attention to what's actually happening right in front of you. So you're not really experiencing what's happening right around you right
you're
now.
experiencing life in a way. You're
Yeah.
experiencing like fiction.
You're
Do you
experiencing the
know?
cartoon you've drawn up in your head.
but not you haven't done it. It's just what's happened.
Well,
This
you're
is this is
being.
this is something that has been known to our species for a very long time, right? It's just it's the kind of information that takes a while to get around, you know? Takes a while to get around. Uh, but it has been known for a very long time that the faculty of attention, right, is specifically related to coming into contact with things like what we like the higher self, right? With a much deeper relationship with ourselves. That's been known for a very long time. It's just we're generally less familiar with it in our culture, you know. And so, and when you do certain things to become familiar with the faculty of attention, right? That's automatically uh, reorganizing your nervous system. It's automatically activating your vagus nerve. It's automatically starting to reconnect your left hemisphere and your right hemisphere uh, just by sitting down and relaxing the muscle of attention, just trying to keep it on breathing. That literally affects our entire system. And that in and of itself will help us be here, more present in presence.
And that that goes to the point of, should we spend any time or energy, and I mean, you can't say no, because not at all, because we do have to plan. But what we've dealt with this a little bit before, but how do we navigate between planning and paying attention to the appropriate thing? So in order to plan, so I'm an accountant. Every time I turn the goddamn news on, it says I'm going to lose my job. And so I need something in mind that I'll go do. Do I just need to rest with the fact that I've gotten this far in life? When that time arises, I will know what to do and still continue to pay attention here? Or should I try to make some contingency plan and at the same time not focus too far in the future? Like what do I do there? And I
Well,
understand Jason is not a fortune teller, people, and I will ask questions that are very pointed, somewhat broad. He doesn't know they're coming, and he doesn't have necessarily the answer. But I come to him as a client on a psych on his couch for him to give me some therapy on how do I deal with this shit, man? Like, how do I deal with,
yeah, I understand.
I'm going to lose my job, and you're telling me just to pay attention to what's happening right now. And that is, you ain't lost your job. Your boss didn't tell you you're going to lose your job.
Well, let's say this. I don't think like maybe what's happening now is this sort of an exaggerated form of sort of what's always been true, right? So in reality, what we're always experiencing is just right now, and the future is actually just imaginary. There's no way to. I don't care what job you have. It can be gone tomorrow. It may seem like it can't, and it's permanent, and that's just not how things work here, right? Uh, but most of us have gone through this whole life, this whole lived experience, and we haven't even really approached those kinds of truths, the impermanency and change, and uh, it's just not something that we generally spend a lot of time investigating, right? They're sort of heavy topics, heavy subjects, right? Uh, and so that's just how things are. Like it, it's more pronounced now that what we call the future, or where things are going, where the river is flowing to, right? Which is which is beyond all of our comprehensions. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't. There's not. I don't know where it's going. I don't know whose jobs are safe. I don't know what the fuck. I have no clue what's going to happen, right? It's very strange, you know? And all I know is that this environment that we're in has always been very confusing and heavy and uh, contributed to lots of pressure. I don't give a shit. You can go back to, like if you were alive at the time when Nero was burning down Rome, like that was probably a pretty crazy time. You know what I'm trying to say? Uh, it's always been crazy here, right? It's just at the heart of our experience. We've never really asked like where we are. What the hell is this place? What the hell's going on here? You know what I mean? It's
But
not
now it's
something.
in our face because it's selling
Now
well.
it's just what's being presented to us is so strange, right? It's going to literally challenge our relationship with reality and ourself. It's really at the heart of what's happening is our whole relationship with who we are is actually changing and shifting.
and
Uh,
and and the part of that that's very relevant to everyone is that their identity with what they do. So their identity with their occupation and how important that is, and how when you tell me that could be on shaky ground, to Jason's point, we're all on shaky ground all the time, but we don't look at it that way. We look at it as if I'm safe and
we don't
secure,
realize it.
which it, the guy that's working for Coca-Cola and has for some time may be in a safer position than the guy who's working for the startup. I think we could both agree that that guy's in a little more secure positioning. The guy who went with the startup should know his risk is involved. So now everybody feels like the guy at the startup a little more, but the idea is everybody could lose their job tomorrow just because your boss got fired, they're cleaning house, your company made
Well,
some bad decisions you didn't know
yeah,
about, and they close up
and a
shop.
job is just one aspect of our experience during this
But
life.
but and we've done a whole episode on this, so we're not going to tackle it. But identity, go back and listen to the identity episode, because that episode tackles how we attach our identity to this stuff on the outside, and how it's we shouldn't be doing it. And it's nothing but cause for heartache and a dead end road, because the answers are never going to be found on the outside. So when we link our identity to those things, it really fucks up our whole program and makes it very difficult to get back to a calm space that happiness is ever present and easy to locate, and you know it's there, and your existence is very organized, if you will, but just it feels comfortable and good. It feels
Outside
right.
of fear.
Yeah, it doesn't feel chaotic. It doesn't feel scary. Things happen that'll cause fear, but you can identify it and you move forward. It's not every time you wake up, you got to be scared that you fucking woke up. Like, it's wild what we're getting fed. And again, it's the train wreck gets your eyes. And when they have your eyes, they can sell them. That's all they're trying to do. And that's everybody. That's all the things, all the peoples. And
Yeah.
I mean, to this show, we're trying to we want to be able to reach more people, and only certain things will catch. And so, we try to find topics that can touch on that which interests you, so that you'll put your eyes on it. We're not selling anything. We don't have any sponsors or anything, so nothing's being sold here. But we do want you to consume so that it will spread and we can affect more people, have a positive effect. So that's the idea, I think, behind a
You
lot of what
know,
a lot of us are doing.
let me say this. This is a general way to say how what this world represents, how it's been described, right? That this world will its entire purpose is to get your attention. And it's obviously good at what it does. And right now, it's screaming really loud to get everybody's attention, you know, right? But that's what this world is. It works to get your attention. And then the remedy to our suffering and fear and sense of smallness and vulnerability, separation, the remedy to that has always been about turning around and starting to put our attention inside and starting to focus in here, right? Which means we're working at the level of attention to keep our attention focused in here. And that is what provides us the best information about everything.
It makes us available to receive it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where the best information about what we are, who we are, that's where it's at. The bigger questions in life, that's where that's the direction the answers are at, you know. Like there is truth here. We sort of in this culture, we really do relate to we've sort of been conditioned in the direction of this like relativity. It's like my truth, you know. Uh well, it is a process for us to learn how to express ourselves authentically and like true expression. You know what I mean? But there's an actual truth here, a truth, right? That is available to all of us. And that truth, that just singular truth, right, has always involved turning back around and going inside and starting to really refocus our attention, right? Uh, and that helps us see the world differently.
Yeah,
Everything
100%.
differently.
100%. And it changes. I think it can be as simple as, again, where your focus is where your journey is going to be experienced.
You got
And
to
so if
practice
it's,
working with focus.
yeah, if you're focused right here where you are, you've put yourself in a position to be where you want to be and you focus on it, it's going to be pleasant. If you're not, then you can focus on, okay, well, how the hell do I get out of this spot and get to the one I want to be in? And then you start making way and you're like, oh shit, I'm proud of myself. I got some shit done. Like it totally can change your life. And it's such an easy thing to say out loud. And it seems profoundly stupid. Like there's no fucking way that's going to change my life. And it literally changes your life almost overnight. And, no matter what AI does, if it comes to fruition that it takes over the world and eliminates humans, or if it's nothing more than the internet became.
Yeah.
What you're doing and focusing on today, unless you're developing AI, it's not going to be you're there. You're going to deal with what happens tomorrow. Just like when I woke up on August the 7th and everything was completely normal. And by 2:00 that afternoon, my life would never be the same because Joel died. It's the same fucking thing. They didn't tell me on the news every day that my kid was going to die. I had to worry about it and all that. We did as parents. I think we all fear that, like, oh, geez, what would I do if that happened? It doesn't help. My recommendation is somebody who's been through it, thinking about it beforehand does you no good. Like, what would I do if? Just don't waste your time and energy. But, do be cautious, be aware. And, so that fear is real and it comes true. It's like, I couldn't have prepared for that shit. There is not one thing that I could have done, I don't think, other than, I lived my life and I had some things that I was able to put in place that have helped me kind of processing, et cetera. But you can't prepare for that shit. You're not going to prepare yourself for what's coming by worrying. You're not going to worry yourself to a safer place. If you are if your footing is not strong in your life, then strengthen that shit. Because if it ain't AI, something else is going to knock you off your feet. And if you're not standing on solid ground, it's going to suck when you land and you might land lower. So you want to prepare for life in general, but you don't have to spend all your time in this make-believe future that nobody, including the people who are creating AI, know what it looks like. And so we really, really encourage you to focus on your attention, where you're putting your attention, the practices. We've gone over a lot of these things in our previous episodes, so we encourage you to take a listen to those. And if you enjoy this podcast, please like, follow, and share wherever you're listening or watching. Doing so helps us reach more men who can be positively impacted by this material. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast, and also on all the socials under Guys Dealings with Feelings. That's with an S, Dealings with Feelings. As well, as always, we thank you for giving us your time, which is your most valuable asset. And until next time, stay in the fight. This world is a much better place with you in it.
Peace.